Good morning, everyone. This is our thought for the day, our guidepost. And today, this is based on something that I wrote earlier this year called Truth or Illusion. Your thoughts and mine help or hinder us. They are powerful beyond measure in our lives, for they create within us love and fear. No thought is neutral. Your thoughts are either truth or illusion. We live in a world that seems unable to distinguish between the two. Your mind is under your control, so decide, do you want its thoughts to create peace or war? In this duality, you must choose one or the other. The hallmark of your life and mine must be that we use our minds, that we don't allow them to use us. Seek truth, dispel illusion, be no one's fool. So it's quite a powerful message, and it's based on the 16th lesson of A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles has 365 lessons, and it is my intention over a long period of time, it won't be this year, it'll probably be in the next 2 or 3 years, to write a poem based on each of the lessons of the Course in Miracles. So this one is saying that it's love and fear. Our thoughts create love or fear. And it also then says that it's either peace or war. Love is obviously peace, and fear is war. Fear is the only time we go to war. When, like Mr. Putin right now, he seems to be frightened that the West is expanding. And yet NATO is a peacekeeping alliance. It's if anyone gets invaded, then we will defend them. It's defensive, that's the word I'm looking for. But he sees it as a problem, and therefore there's 100,000 Russian troops on the border with Ukraine right now. It's down to fear. It's how do we use our minds? Do we use our minds or do they use us? And if it's fear that's in charge, then that will create like a loop the wrong way. So instead of the heart saying, I've got this problem for you to solve, to the mind, can you get to work on it for me, please? It's the mind telling the heart, this is the wrong way to go. And really, it should be an advisement, even when our minds have worked things through and come to a decision, the heart should still decide. So even though it might be the most logical thing to do what the logic is saying, we must always move from our hearts from a place of love, even when it seems completely contrary to common sense to move out in but what's the word again? I've just used it in an illogical manner, even when the mind has said the logic of this is overwhelmingly clear. You need to do this and this, and the heart's saying, but if I do, that will hurt people. It will not be from kindness. It will not be from a place of love. And even though the mind has been allowed to do its function and work things out for us and come to a logical conclusion, our hearts must override it in those circumstances. It's a choice that we all have. People don't seem to see that there is a choice between one thing and another. They feel that they are conditioned into behaving in a certain way, but there's always a choice. And there's, in the dualism, in the up and down and left and right and inside and outside and male and female of where we are in this 3D, 4D reality, we have a choice to make every day. Do we follow love or do we follow fear? Do we seek truth or illusion? Because even when the logic is saying this is the way to move forward, it's illusory, because the truth is we're here to love. I rest my case, Your Honour.
Well, what I think of really, really part of that, I was like sort of not laughing but smiling, because the number of times you come up with you read something that is just been discussed by myself with someone else, or it's been on my mind. And just this morning, I was talking to my husband about war and about the saber rattling that's going on. I must say that I disagree, not disagree. I have another way of looking at the thing with Putin. I believe that there's two sides to every story, and if there's saber rattling on the other, there's a response on the other. So what he might be doing is responding to the saber rattling of others. But regardless of what, I mean, I know that the US. I don't know. I read that the US. They took out the original person that was in charge of the Ukraine, and they put their own guy in now. So it's all, to me, a story. It's a story, and the players in it at the top are they're not coming from love. So this is what I was talking to my husband about. Basically, there's a lot of warmongering going on at the moment, and there's a lot of throwing it out there, which is, to me, to put people into fear. Whether there's a war or not shouldn't even be put out into the consciousness. If the people in charge of us, who are governing us, feel that things are so bad, we should put them all in a room and say, come out when there's agreement with everybody that doesn't involve war, because the people don't want war, and therefore when they come, if they can't do that, and if they create in the public arena the story of a war, then they're not doing their job. They're not representing the most majority of the people, because I don't believe anybody really wants a war. Nobody wants to, unless you're a complete psychopath. But they're not in the majority by any means. And even though those people, they've been conditioned, they've just had the wrong lives and the wrong choices presented to them, and so we should be looking at them with compassion and coming away from talk of war. And we should be by now, with the lessons that we've had of the past, we shouldn't even be entertaining more. And so that's my opinion, is put everybody in a room and tell them, come out when you've sorted it all out. If you can't, resign.
Well, sadly, the illustration I gave was probably not a good one, but fear is in control, and fear needs to be remedied, and the only remedy for fear is love. But regardless of my bad use of illustration, it is love that is the focus. It's much easier probably to use it in your own life. Now, it's what would love do? There's so many occasions where you want to lash out. You've never been so affronted. The people say things and do things that affect you in your life, that make you feel that that you are of no consequence, that they don't value you. And these are people that you've showed great respect and value to in your life, and they say so. Can't we just having an off day? And then you remember what they say forever. And because of that, every time you see them, even though they're not having an off day today, you're still at odds with what they said or what they did, and you hold that against them. And in those circumstances of our lives, and as I say, it happens many times, what we should be asking ourselves is, what would love do? What would love do? Because if we don't, then there will be war, there will be enmity, there will be fallings out, there will be awkward silences in rooms that we're in, never mind the leaders of the world. We're going to be in that situation where we are at odds with the key people in our lives, and you can cut the atmosphere with a knife. And the question is, what would love do? What is the most loving thing that you can do or think or be in whatever circumstance where you find yourself sad or angry or at odds with somebody? What could you do? You don't have to do it. I'm not saying that you have to do it, but what if you can just answer the question to yourself, what would love do? And then you can do what you want to do anyway. You can fly off the handle if you want to. It's quite okay to be and do what you want to be and do. You don't have to have some moralist like me telling you, no, you're not supposed to do that. You can do whatever you want to do, but you will always reap the consequences of your actions, whatever they are. And my argument in favor of what I'm saying would be, if you always act from a place of love, what kind of response are you going to get? Okay, some people respond to love with unkindness because they're hurting, because they haven't really heard your heart. But if you do that consistently with everyone in your life, what's going to happen? What is the reward that you're going to reap? So it's obvious that this is a very powerful lesson from A Course in Miracles, and it's the 16th day. I'm not in these sort of, when I write my poem, I never quote it directly. I don't read what the Course in Miracles says or the Tao Te Ching says first. I just tell you what my take is on it, because you might go to that verse now and look it up online, the Course in Miracles day 16, and you might draw a completely different conclusion to the one that I did as I've written this this piece back in January. But nevertheless, there is some truth to be extracted from what's being said today. In these morning meditations, thoughts for the day, guideposts, I'm trying to help people with what I've written, and then to pour out my heart afterwards to see something that maybe they haven't seen before. Maybe you have seen this before. Maybe, oh, Andrew, that's all that. I learned that about 15 years ago. Well, that's okay. But is it a bad thing to remind you to always come from a place of love? I don't think so. But yeah, I'm just bringing what I feel at the beginning of the week. We've got a new week ahead of us. What would love do? So this is truth or illusion. Your thoughts and mine help or hinder us. They are powerful beyond measure in our lives, for they create within us love and fear. No thought is neutral. Your thoughts are either truth or illusion. We live in a world that seems unable to distinguish between the two. Your mind is under your control, so decide, do you want its thoughts to create peace or war in this duality? You must choose one or the other. The hallmark of your life and mine must be that we use our minds, that we don't allow them to use us. Seek truth, dispel illusion, be no one's fool. Namaste.